Hey, I'm trying to make this video. This is like literally like probably the seventh time I've tried to do this because my son was doing a science project. My husband walked in on me, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I want to get this done. I want to say this. So I'm on a path of trying to figure out how to be better in personal relationships, long-term personal relationships, right? That are healthy and engaging and uh, with good outcomes and a path to the outcomes and all that kind of stuff. So the reason why I'm doing these videos is because I'm on that path. And I talk to people and I find out they're on that path. They're trying to figure that shit out, right? It's like, what the hell is going on? So I think that I don't know what it is. I know my reason why I have not been successful is because, or am working and having to work to be successful. I've never seen a good relationship. I've never been intimately involved or inside of a good relationship, a long term relationship. My dad, my mother and my dad divorced when I was 3, and I just never seen, that was it. That's all I saw. I don't know nothing else. You know what I'm saying? So I've seen them. Like I have aunts and uncles and all kinds of people who have just my sister. Or I have all kinds of people who have all these, but I've never been inside of it. You know what I'm saying? It's different when you're in it and you can see it and you can feel it, and it's part of your DNA and it's part of your memory and it's part of your brain, and you understand all of that stuff. I don't have any of that. And so I have been reading books and articles and podcasts and everything I can to get my hands on to learn more about this stuff, right? I'm really, really good at, and I would almost consider myself to be not an expert because I don't feel like I don't know, but I'm really good at the business side of stuff, right? So my emotional intelligence when it comes to work, understanding what I need and want, understanding what they need and want, how to get to those outcomes, having done startups and restarts of staffing companies, having to make sure that everybody involved is okay, the expectation of whoever hired me, what is their outcome, what do they need? Oh, our revenue is low or our margins are low. We need more business. We can't get enough business because we're charging too much. So we have a lot, high margin but low revenue, whatever, right? So all these different things, turnover, because we're not hiring well, we're not hiring on time, we're not firing on time, we're not training properly, we're not onboarding well, we don't make that great first impression, great experience with people, whatever that is, right? So that's where that's my expertise. That's where I come in and I can just make shit happen, right? The maintenance part of the business has always been somebody else. And so I've only done 2-3 years of maintenance, you know what I mean? And usually I exploit the expertise and the strengths of the people who work with me, right? Somebody's good at Excel and administrative stuff. Someone else is good at whatever. So I have them do brown bag trainings or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? So I just make sure I utilize the team so that I'm not feeling like all of it is on me. And also I can find a successor, right? So I can move on to my next project. Um, so anyway, I just really believe that every time I think about it, if we use these tactics and strategies that I've used since the 90s in my personal life, and if people have done that, then we would just be so much further along. Come to find out, I'm reading all this stuff, and basically, a lot of people feel the same way, right? So this is about my learning and all that growing and kind of taking you guys with me on this process and talking about it because there's so many people who are in the same place, either at work or at home, and it's just fucked up to have fucked up relationships. It's just horrible, or not know how to handle it or deal with it, or deal with the stress, or deal with the pressure of it. It's just a lot. So anyway, I was talking to a girlfriend, and she was telling me that she was in a relationship for that long, and she didn't know why, she didn't know what he wanted, and I was like, God damn, how is that possible? So, I mean, I knew my husband wanted to get married. I was pretty sure I wanted to get married again. And so we had, I knew I wanted a life partner. Um, and so I wasn't really sure if that came in the form of marriage or what that was going to look like. But the more I thought about it, I thought, okay, all right. And so anyway, um, we had a common outcome, right? So we, just like at work, this is what I want, right? You want to interview or something like that, and the interview says, okay, Tracy, I'm interviewing you for this. He was interviewing me basically to be his wife, and so we had a common outcome. But what we didn't do is talk about how to get there. So at work, we have a 30, 60, 90 We kind of look at things in 30 days, and then we look at quarterly, right? And then we look at semi-annual, fiscal year, whatever, right? We have all these time frames and milestones, and we look at how are we moving along. If we did that same thing at home, it would be great. Define the outcome of what you want from that relationship. Determine a path to get there, and then check in on a regular basis to make sure that you're on the right path. And if you need to tweak something or change something or whatever. So that's what I think that we don't do in our personal lives. And I was just like, oh my God, how do you be in a relationship when you don't know what he wants? I mean, it's different to not agree on how, but to just straight fucking not even know what he wants. That's cray cray to me, right? So, and again, I'm not an expert. I have not done this well at all. Okay, I am still in the learning phase at the ripe old age of 53, trying to figure this stuff out myself. But one of the things that's really important is that we just have to do that. So you go to work, you have one-on-ones. Do you have one-on-ones at home to determine how you're going to get to your determine how you're going to get to your outcome, right? Do you do you talk about what your 30-day goals are and meet at 30 days and say, are we where we need to be? Are you looking at your goals when it comes to your annual goals and saying where you need to be? I mean, are we doing all that? Are we checking in with each other and making sure that not only do we have a common goal, but the path that we're on is going to get us there? At work, we do such a great job with that. When you bring people in, you train them, you bring them in, they feel good about it, honeymoon, okay? You train them, let them know what it is you like and don't like. Here's the procedures, all that kind of stuff, right? We do all that stuff at work. We don't do any of that stuff at home. My whole thing is find what you common goals, and then understand how you're going to get to those goals. We do it at work. Let me tell you why I think we don't do it at home in our personal lives. Sometimes we want something so badly. We want a spouse, we want a partner, we want security, we want financial assistance, to having somebody in your life. You got that other income coming in. There's all the benefits of being in a good personal relationship. But if we really are asking the question of what that person wants, and then the details about how they want to get there, if we keep asking and we keep going down different layers, like if you're like it's like when you're running a business, you go in and you look at the financials, right? And you say, well, what's going on here? Are they paying too much rent? Why are they making all this money, but they don't? Why is the gross and the net? So what's going on, right? And you get down and you keep digging down and you find out why things are the way they are, right? And you have to ask all these questions and kind of dig and dig and dig to get some of these answers, right? The same thing happens in a personal relationship. The more questions you ask, you may hit an answer that you really you didn't want to know. And it's going to be like this person that you're so in love with, this person that you like so much. You find out when you keep digging, fuck, I didn't want to know that. Now that I know that, I gotta, right. So I think we don't ask these intimate questions like we do at work. And some people don't even do it at work, and that's a whole other video. But we don't need to ask those intimate questions, because if we know the answers, they're not going to be the answers we want. It's not going to be the information that we want. We're going to find out that maybe we shouldn't be with this person, or we pay, So I think that's the reason why we don't do it. I think we don't ask, just one girl one time said, and I'm trying to make these videos shorter, but one time I heard this girl, she was a beautiful African-American, Puerto Rican mix. Gorgeous, master's degree, beautiful clothing and everything. And she said, I don't understand when I go on dates with guys, they don't tell me what they want. And then, this is compressing the whole thing. And then she said something like, even after you sleep with them, they don't tell you what they want. I was like, what the fuck? So I was like, how in the world? I just never got that. So I think that she wanted to be in a relationship so badly that she didn't want to ask those questions. She didn't want to wait for the answers, or realize if a motherfucker ain't answering you, it's because he's being deceitful. Like if somebody's not telling you what they want, if they got to figure out how to, then they don't really need to be, excuse me, my nose just itches. Then it's omitting. They're not telling you anything because they don't want to tell you anything. So if they don't say anything, then it's probably because they know that what they have to say is not going to be an answer. It's going to get them in that whatever their outcome is, right? Getting you in bed or whatever. So anyway, I just feel like if we just were a little bit more courageous and asking a lot of questions like we do at work. At work, we want to know how much we're going to get paid, when the payday is. People be asking, well, when is my first payday? And not, what days do you get paid? And you do your tax forms, and then you know how many deductions you're going to have, you know how much training you're going to have. You want to see the full job description. You want all this information, but we don't get all that information when it comes to our personal lives. A lot of us don't. I'm not going to say all of us don't. I'm just speaking to the people who are just as dysfunctional as my ass. But, we want to project what we want onto someone. And we even do it at work too. But, because I've done better on work, I'm talking about how they relate that way. I coach a lot of people on how to do that at work. And I think that if we just did that in our personal, but because it's personal, we just look at it differently, right? So I just feel like desired outcome, find that out. At a minimum, we have to know what that person wants from you, from a relationship. You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, subsequent to that, the path to get there. And well, how do you think we're going to get there? How do you think we're going to retire in Hawaii? How do you think we're going to need another house? How do you think we're going to have a child? How are we going to pay for their college? All those kinds of things, of course, will have to be discussed as well, which a lot of people don't always have those discussions. They make assumptions about that stuff as well, just like people do at work. We make those assumptions sometimes too. But I think that at work, we just are a little more courageous to ask those questions. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Common goal. How do you be in a relationship with somebody for 2 years and don't know what they want? For 2 years? Come on now. All right, but hey, I got my shit too. So, so let's say a quick prayer. God, give us the courage, the wherewithal to ask the questions that may not give us the answers that we think that we want. For real, that's really it. Make sure, just help us ask the questions regardless of what the answer is going to be, and knowing that the answer is just going to be whatever it is, and that answer will help us determine what we need to do next. That your will is greater than anything, and if you're going to, and as you guide us and those answers come to us, you will help us understand what to do with that information. And if we understand what we want and what you want, then those answers will be revelations and not devastations. Ooh, did I just rhyme? In your name, God, we pray. Amen. Okay, bye. Hope that makes sense.